An RHS senior gets honored by Notre Dame.
Better Legacy Week wraps up.
And our last Flashback Friday.
All today on the air.
What's up, RHS? I'm your host, Malik Alexander, here with my wonderful co-host,
Jared Sharp.
And welcome to our show. Recently, RHS senior Emily Jetmore gave a speech on AP classes. Now the College Board and Notre Dame University want to use their speech to help promote the AP classes in Indiana.
I got to give a speech at the Indiana State House just to talk about the Notre Dame grant that we got for our AP classes. And after I gave the speech, a few people from the College Board came up to me and asked me if I would re-record the speech and put it on their website. So I'm really thankful for this opportunity. I think it's really cool. I began my foray into APs as a sophomore, and though I was one lone brave soul at that time, underclassmen in APs is becoming much more prevalent at RHS. Though that year was intensive and intimidating, it showed me that I was capable of the hard work that it took to compete among RHS's intellectuals. Thanks to the addition of Saturday sessions, I have watched this intellectual community grow and flourish.
Now on to a few announcements. Today's the last day to turn in your applications for the Boss Technologies Paid Entrepreneur Program this summer. Make sure you get them into Miss Selm or Mrs. Reynolds today.
Anyone interested in running cross country in the fall needs to stop by and see Mr. Hitson in his room R309 before the end of school.
The Red Devil players are holding their last show of the year this weekend in McGuire Hall. Make sure you see Adults House this Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. each day. Tickets are only $3 for students.
Attention all football players currently in conditioning. Remember, next week is Max Out Week. See your coaches for more information.
As we wrap up Better Legacy Week, we have one person who wants to share some thoughts with you.
Well, my story starts from being born in Gary, Indiana. I grew up in the projects, Gary, Indiana, Dory Miller projects, one of the toughest environments you could ever imagine having to grow up in. I grew up in a house with my grandmother, and it was probably 7 adults and myself in a 3-bedroom house. Fortunately, my grandmother started me off on the right foot. She enrolled me into a program called a Deep River Early Learning Program. That program, I believe, was the program that provided the foundation that I needed as far as learning and growing. And that opportunity afforded me the opportunity to be one of the top students in my class growing up in elementary. I wasn't the smartest, I wasn't the top, but I was always in that top 5 range where I wasn't the brightest kid maybe, but it was instilled in me early to get things done. You know, if it was my responsibility to do, I did what I need to do to get it done. Growing up in a single parent home, my dad was in my life till in and out till I was about 7 or 8. Kind of disappeared in the wind, and so mom raised me and my brother and sister by herself. My brother and sister, who were 8 years apart, their dad was shot and killed. You know, they found him. He was shot 15 times. They were 2, so they never really got a chance to build a relationship with their dad. So mom, single parent, I'm 8 years older. So at the age of probably 13, when they were 5, I assume big brother, kind of like a father figure role for my brother and sister. So, you know, I learned how to fry chicken. I learned how to, you know, grill out. I learned how to, you know, clean up and keep the house at least appropriate. You know, for guests and visitors, learn how to just, you know, be responsible. I got to Earlham, and of course, you know, I wowed out a little bit, And while that was just not managing my time, not having my priorities together. I wasn't a bad person, a bad kid, or anything like that. But I was the ultimate procrastinator. A day or two before a big exam, that's when I wanted to put in work. And throughout that process, I learned to manage my time better. Earl was different from athletic perspective. Academically, it was probably the best thing that ever happened in my life. I struggled mightily at Earlham. A lot of it was because of my lack of time management and, thought that hanging out with my guys on a Tuesday, Wednesday night was more important than getting in the library. But as I got older and matured, I learned that, that type of things can wait till the weekend. So, I was able to get better study skills, study habits. I sold RVs for 8-9 years. We averaged about 25 salesmen. Started off as the bottom 25 and worked my way up to be one of the top 5 salesmen. I worked myself into being on the traveling crew where we traveled across the country and sold RVs at different RV shows. Made good money. There were months where I made 10, 15 grand in one month. In June, July, those were always good times. But in November, December, January, I wouldn't make any money. So it was one of those jobs where you make money, you make a lot of money spring, summer, don't make a whole bunch in the fall, winter, and you just have to learn how to manage your money and budget your lifestyle, your household. So that was a great learning experience. My first year with communities and schools, I was given a case list of 30 of the considered the most at-risk students at Richmond High School, whether it's because of high mobility of moving around from place to place, whether it's from single-parent home, whether it's their socioeconomic status. Much of it was from previous behaviors from middle school as far as expulsions, number of referrals and so forth. And that allowed me to connect with kids that didn't have hope or didn't feel like they have hope, didn't dream, wasn't very motivated. Fortunately, I felt like I connected with all those kids, but only half of them probably made it.
Yeah.
So it was frustrating. We need more young people, not afraid to lead, and making a difference and leaving a legacy behind.
If you haven't taken a selfie yet, you better hurry. The deadline to turn in your selfie is next Friday, May 23rd. Remember, email them to pioneeringolympics@yahoo.com.
If you're looking to play a sport next year, don't forget to get a physical and get it on file. There are 3 dates this summer when you can get a cheap sports physical for only $10. They will be done at Reed Orthopedic Center starting at 6 p.m. on May 21st, June 5th, and July 29th.
The RHS soccer program is holding their first ever alumni soccer match this Saturday on Leibach Field starting at 11 a.m. Any former RHS soccer player, girl or boy, including this year's seniors, are eligible to come play. Everyone is invited to come see it and the admission is free.
Rain sticks around in the red double forecast for the rest of today, and we remain cool with highs only in the low 50s. Tomorrow the rain finally moves out and things start to gradually warm up with highs around 60. Temperatures continue to warm up as the weekend comes to an end and we come back for our last full week of school.
As we close today, we have our last Flashback Friday of the year. On Tuesday, seniors got the chance to meet Brandon Pope, a graduate of the RHS radio TV program, and now a recent Ball State grad. Here's a look at a documentary he did as an RHS senior. It won second place in the State of Business Professionals of America and Best Drama in the Fanoscope Film Festival that year. Enjoy and have a great weekend.
Hero. The Webster's Dictionary defines the word as a man admired for his achievements and noble qualities, or one that shows great courage. These are words that perfectly describe Joseph William Rowe, part-time student, full-time fighter.
He's a really good guy. Every day I see him, he's always smiling. Not one day I've seen him mad. Seeing him in the weight room and out in life, he's got so much motivation and just he shoots for something and he's gonna get it done, which kind of inspires me to do good.
After a long day at school, Joe rolls over to the local Richmond Athletic Center to train in the sport he loves, mixed martial arts. MMA is a sport that is increasingly growing in popularity in the United States of America. In leagues like the UFC, participants duel each other in an octagon-shaped cage. It is a sport that requires a great deal of mental focus, technicality, and athletic ability. But it is not what Joseph Rohn does that makes him a hero. It's how he does it. Joe was born with cerebral palsy.
It's cerebral palsy. It's actually a lack of oxygen to the brain during delivery. In this case, sometimes it can be a stroke while the baby's in the womb, but it was a delivery incident this time. Babies are supposed to come out face down, and Joseph came out face up, and he kind of got stuck there. So it was just a little bit too much time trying to be born, and that's what happened.
Cerebral palsy is a non-specific term that describes disorders characterized by impaired movement and posture. This non-progressive condition affects the motor centers in the brain, resulting in abnormal muscle tone and coordination. Despite his condition, Joe is still motivated to pursue his goals.
I would say that anyone could be a fighter. It doesn't matter. There's an armless and legless fighter who steps in a cage. He doesn't win, but he still has heart to step in there.
When I first met Joe, especially in a sport like this, I was like, is this kid crazy? I mean, if you've seen like on TV, these guys that do this sport, I just thought it was crazy of a kid to try this.
Joe begins his daily workout regimen by stretching, focusing primarily on his back. While waiting for his training partner, James Everson, Joe picks up 100-pound silos, slams them down, and strikes them, simulating a body. James arrives and the two finally start their sparring.
And then, I started watching him and he taught me so much. Everything I've learned has 99.9% been from him. And it showed how much determination he had, and just how ready he was. He's like, if everybody else can do this, why not me? I know he had that kind of attitude, and it was like a big inspiration to me. And he's like one of the toughest guys I know.
There certainly is no doubting that Joe has strength. However, it's his other qualities that inspire him.
The first time he walked in, I wasn't quite sure if he was going to be able to do everything. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people have to understand is you can't judge Joe by looking at him, because the young man has the heart of a lion. And he's an extremely hard worker. He's done everything I've ever asked of him. He never complains about anything. And I think he's an example for anybody, not only the students at the high school, but he's been an example for me as an adult, because he's an inspiration, in my opinion, because he continues to do everything you ask, and he never complains about anything. And he does it to a level that for a lot of people probably who have never been in a conditioning class would be very surprised.
Joe is currently awaiting his first fight. Because of how light he is, it is difficult to find an opponent in his weight class. One thing is for sure, Joe Rohn will keep on fighting. And that is what being a hero is all about.